Hello. It's the end of April, and I am just starting to make changes to my car for the next season because I didn't do anything with my to my car over the off season. I was lazy. But I have done a couple things and I want to show them to you. First off, you will notice that this is different. I was talking to Way at Way Motorworks on the phone, and he told me about a thing that I should do, which I had kind of already had the idea for. He told me in a different way, but he said that rubber hose is a restriction, and you should just take that K&N intake filter that you have run after the hose and just put it straight on the throttle body. And I thought about that, but then I realized I wanted to implement the idea I had earlier. This ran something kind of like that. There you go, like that. Nope, like that. Anyway, this tube runs from the throttle body right here into my battery box. But as you well know, my battery does not live there anymore. My battery, ow, is right there behind my passenger seat. So with that extra space, I have my cone filter in here. And that does a couple things. The first thing that I wanted it to do was be louder, and it is. It makes a lot of noise, makes really cool noises. The other things it does is bring in cooler air. It's an actual like functional cold air intake, because on the supercharged cars, their intake box lives right here anyway. The battery's in the trunk. And I cut the back of the box out so that it pulls cold air from the cowl right here. And that's exactly how the supercharged cars do it. But in this case, the battery box is already like double walled and insulated because the battery was there and it was insulated from heat. So it works really well. My intake temperatures are usually not hardly any more than 10 degrees above ambient. And one time I did actually see lower intake temperatures than my car was telling me the outside temperature was, which is pretty cool. So we don't need that. The next thing I did, or am going to do, that's the only thing I've done. This is the next thing I'm doing. I had a brief interaction last year at Gingerman with Jacob Abbott, where he was doing an alignment or doing something to his Honda Fit that he ended up winning the season with. And he removed the front sway bar from his car completely. And he said he got 4.5 degrees of camber out of it. And that made me think about front sway bar possibilities. And I thought, should I remove it? Because it's a 24 millimeter sway bar and it's really big. And I don't know how, well, I feel like that might be too drastic of a change to make just to remove it completely. And then I did some more digging. And you know how I like to steal parts from other countries that don't exist in the US. I discovered that in the UK, the Mini 1, which is like a base Cooper, not a Cooper, but it's like the level below the Cooper, only came with a front sway bar and didn't have a rear sway bar. So because of that lack of balance, they made the front sway bar really small. So what I did was I imported one of those, and now I have a 16 millimeter front sway bar as opposed to the 24 millimeter sway bar that's on the car. And my theory is that that will kind of be a halfway point between what I have and removing it. So I also took the time to paint it a real pretty Blue Label blue, and Powerflex's purple bushings look really good on that. These are the best chips that there are, and if you have a different opinion, you're wrong.
No.
And
these are the best chips, right here.
I'm gonna take this opportunity to tell Jorge he's wrong. This is Jorge. Hi. He's been working here for a bit, but you haven't seen him because I haven't posted anything at the shop for a long time.
I hide.
He's really great.
I have a YouTube channel.
He does have a YouTube channel, Zetro Racing. He has a Miata, and he races with Grid Life. He does the proper wheel-to-wheel racing. He's an actual race car driver. I just do time attack. He's really great. We've had him at the shop for a number of months now, and I really enjoy being able to just hand a job to him and have complete confidence that he will figure it out and know what he's doing and do a good job.
Yep, love it here. Oh, wait.
However that works. He welds. So, what we're doing tonight is chopping up my exhaust and putting on some 4:2:1 headers. These supposedly will add some mid-range torque and shouldn't boost the overall power number very much. Because I run in a power to weight class, I'm really hesitant to try to add power to this car because that would mean that I would have to add weight to it as well. My goal with this header is to try to improve the mid-range power and hopefully be able to power out of corners quicker without actually changing the peak number that it makes higher up in the rev range. So given those goals, I'm going to be retaining my catalytic converter because I also daily drive this car, and I don't want it to be too loud, and I don't want to add too much power. I really just want some mid-range torque. That header plus that intake that I made will sound glorious. I know this ahead of time, and I'm so excited to hear it. We're going to get started so that you can... We're going to get started because I'm so excited for this. All right, let's go.
Who needs
It's supposed to have hydraulic. They're blown, but I have a strut bar, so it's fine. So what are we doing here? I am extra, so I added a heat shield to my header, and therefore I have to take it off, which I wouldn't have had to do if I just left it the way the manufacturer intended. But you know, that's something that I have a hard time doing in multiple facets. I'm doing this, first of all, because I have this spare head sitting around, and I had this heat shield that I knew wouldn't just fit this header because it has broader pipes on it. And I just bent it up to make sure that it would fit. But then I discovered that some of these primaries are actually very close indeed to the bolt holes. Like this one around the side is actually touching it. So I'm kind of just running it down to make sure that, I mean, I guess this was on a car at one point. It is a used header, so I guess it does fit. But I don't really, maybe this, you know what? I bet this came with its own bolts.
Probably.
Probably came with bolts with different shaped heads on them that weren't as broad. I bet it had some, there's like chamfers right here at the leading edge of the bolt holes. I bet they had some sort of bolt that didn't have a shoulder. It was just that little lip right there. Okay. After 2 minutes of deliberation, I have decided that instead of trying to find bolts that fit the occasion, I am simply going to modify the header.
You guys want to see something cute? Look at this marshmallow.
My mom's really proud of me. My mom made that.
This is the coolest thing ever.
Now, she grabbed, of course, the logo and the font from Grid Life's website, and then she asked me specifically when she gave it to me, she said she grabbed the track layout too, and she said, "What are the ducks for?" And I said, "The ducks? What do you mean the ducks?" And you can see along all of the corner markers where they have the numbers, they just have little rubber duckies behind the numbers. And I genuinely have no idea. So anybody in the official Grid Life community chat, let me know. What are the ducks for? Man. All right. I'm doing it the non-logical way because it's the only way it'll fit. Yep, that'll do it. Therefore, the head has ports like this big, and then the header has ports like this big. So there's going to be some swirling going on right as it exits the head and goes into the header. I would really prefer to have a header that had, you know, port matched sizing all the way through. And I think if you had a header with the same design, the same 4:2:1, same angles, same curvatures, but you had it with smaller primaries that actually matched like the amount of flow that this head can put out, I think with smaller tubes, it would actually make more power.
I definitely agree with that one.
Less-
There would be no like turbulence.
Yeah, less turbulence. So maybe eventually we will do this again after we've gathered some data, and maybe we'll do that. Try to make our own headers and make them out of tubes that are similar to factory size. I found this great post on North American Motoring at one point where a guy who actually worked at the design team at Mini, who was designing, just for instance, the exhaust system on this car, and he was talking about how they experimented with different sizes of primaries in the exhaust header and how it made power in different places, and they decided at the end of the day that they wanted it to have some decent low down torque and feel responsive instead of making huge numbers up high. And that was really cool to read through, and that's actually why I have this idea that I was just explaining about making a header with smaller primaries, because for a car that only makes 100 horsepower, the motor's stock. I've only done an intake mod and an exhaust mod. I can't do anything to the engine for the Sunday Cup. Grid Life won't allow it. So given that, I think smaller primaries would be better. But in this instance, given what I have to work with, getting rid of the factory header that has very short primaries in favor of longer primaries that have that double merge, or the tri-Y as old people like to call it, I think it'll give me a good advantage.
Definitely agree. I'd like to get some dyno numbers.
Yeah, we will. Sometime here in the next couple weeks, once the storm passes, and when I find some time, I'll put this on the dyno. I'll be curious to see if it flattens out those peaks and valleys. I mean, you found it in that Hyundai. I would have believed it.
I thought it was a vape. I thought it was USB too.
I'm an adult.
I can have cake whenever I want.
The best part about being an adult is you can still be a kid and nobody can tell you you're wrong for it.
So looking at the diameter of the new header, what I think we can do is take this out, and you see how your first cat steps upwards. We can cut it right here, right? We might be able to connect that directly to this.
Oh,
weld
okay.
it right here. I don't know the length.
Like cut the other header shorter?
Yeah, like cut the bracket off completely, and then attach this to this and use this as the step down.
Okay.
That's a theoretical thing, but I mean, we can take this and put it wherever we want. That's why
Yeah.
we can weld. But we might be able to use this as the step down and then weld it onto there, and then you can keep your secondary cat.
We'll just have to see how it lines up.
Yeah, we'll have to see how everything lines up, but that's a general idea. So instead of cutting it here, we'll have to just kind of cut it here and leave us some room to like adapt to that size header.
Cool. Ha! Try to do that with a Midwest car.
You did,
No, this is a California car.
but it's in the Midwest.
It didn't come from the Midwest.
But it's been in the Midwest.
It has for 2 summers.
Winters.
But really, I mean, my point is, I really love having a West Coast car because everything just comes apart when I ask it to.
What were you saying?
You get the point. I got it. See? No trouble at all. And listen to how clean those threads are in there.
It's almost like when you have a race car, you take it apart so many times and everything's always clean.
Yeah. Yeah, we can go with that, even though this is the first time I'm doing this to this car. But I appreciate that. Oh, hey, oh. Cool. You know what? This one's in good shape. We should chop up the other one.
Yeah, I agree. That's really nice.
Uh-oh. Now here's something. Oh, it'll be fine. I just gotta. Yep. Just like that. Oh. Yeah, the tube's bend in different ways, so it doesn't go in nearly as nicely as the other one did. Oh dear.
Is your power steering lines in the way?
Yes.
Power steering.
Hey. My power steering is very nice. You stay. I'm coming there. I might have to lower the subframe for this.
Oh no.
Just lower, not
Well,
remove necessarily. You know what? Actually, I think that heat shield is a couple eighths from coming out. I'll just do that. Yeah. See? Yes.
oh, look at that.
Perfect. Like it was meant for it. Oh.
Need some air.
I got it. Oh. All right. Right here.
Yep.
Okay.
I think right there will be fine, and then we will do that first, and then that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got his aftermarket header in there. We cut the secondary cat out, and when we mount it like so, we realize that it is just ever so slightly off. However, if we move the exhaust just a tiny bit right here, we are pretty much dead on, and that would make it a lot easier. So all I have to do is find a coupling that fits from here to here, and we can weld those two together, and I mean, we'll be done. And then he still has an exhaust that he can unbolt from here and take it all down as one unit versus having a solid exhaust, because when I was younger, I used to just weld exhausts all the way together, and then I realized it was super inconvenient. So I think that would be the best bet. We'll just take a piece of piping from one of the old exhausts and make a coupler between there and there, weld it, and we'll be done. Oh, 10% smarter than the equipment. Oh, missed the hole.
Thanks. Teamwork.
Honestly, not bad.
Well, it's not even off.
No, it's not.
How'd you do that? Oh, because I haven't mounted it yet?
Well, really, I just welded really well.
Yeah.
Oh, just Midwestern things.
Just Midwestern things.